Welcome back, Flare community. Happy Wednesday. It's an extremely exciting day today. Looks like the chat is already filling up, and today we're going to be just going over the latest news, the breaking news of the Flare network roadmap. And one thing that I really want you guys to take from this video is this idea of connecting everything. And, I think this is just a new wave, a new frontier of innovation coming from the Flare network, and they really are a pioneering network paving the way for the future. So for those of you who are in the know, just 10 minutes ago, there was this tweet here from the Flare network's team. Question: when Flare? The question on everybody's lips, and the answer is, of course, the team is aiming for a 4th of July 2022 release. And yes, that is Independence Day, and it is subject to confirmation at a later date, providing it passes through audits and everything works as expected. And this is the important thing here. Flare is not just enabling early layer 1 tokens to be used with smart contracts, it's bridging advanced cross-chain interoperability to all networks. Yes, all networks. So, previously we had these layer 1 tokens, that's XRP, that's Litecoin, Dogecoin, XLM, and Algorand. They were the confirmed S or F assets. And it looks like they want to bridge everything. And this is testament to their new tagline, connect everything. It really is crazy. And I'm really excited to be a part of it, as I'm sure you guys are too. So here is the roadmap and the document. We do have some very nice infographics here, which walks us through the process. It's probably going to take me maybe 10 minutes to read through this, and we can get our thoughts, and I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments too. So here it is, the Flare rollout process. In 2020, we set to build a chain that would allow a few tokens from early layer 1s to be used with smart contracts, and this is not the Flare that we will be delivering. Sorry to disappoint you, but you will soon see why. It's not just going to be limited to a few early layer 1s. Through extensive additional engineering and research, we have further developed our initial ideas and protocols to build something much more exciting. And we're going to get into this. So Flare enables a breakthrough in decentralized cross-chain functionality. Existing solutions are unsatisfactory. An example: the reality of token bridging is that almost all existing systems are heavily centralized. These bridges are essentially a digital adaptation of the historical banking model. Thus, they actually control your tokens whilst being unregulated. And, if we actually just go over here, Hugo actually mentioned something yesterday about another hack today of a major bridge. Blockchain is a competitive landscape. Rushing to market made sense in Web 2 to acquire sufficient market share to see off competitors. And here's what I found really honorable of Hugo. Rushing to market is also unethical when you consider the risks. And yes, people have been waiting a long time for the Flare network to launch, but for good reason. They're actually bringing something completely new, a lot safer, and it's going to release this going to, bring this decentralized manner of bridging into existence. Those that are genuinely decentralized are constrained to use an existing method of communication, the light client relay. That forces a choice between being slow or unsafe. And we did talk about the light client relay and what that actually is in a previous video about the state connector. Furthermore, light client relays do not work with all consensus protocols. For example, probabilistic finality BFT, or Byzantine Federate Tolerance, and suffer from being incompatible with optimized smart contracts that are written outside the blockchain's virtual machine environment. Such optimized smart contracts are increasingly being used. When Flare launches, it will be a technologically advanced, cross-chain interoperability network that answers many of the issues inherent in the space today. Let's just read that again, because it's quite a significant statement. When Flare launches, it will be a technologically advanced cross-chain interoperability network that answers many of the issues inherent in the space today. This is not just a generic network that's coming to fruition, smart contracts, very cheap, very fast. Don't get me wrong, that is absolutely incredible, and Songbird really has proven its worth in that sense, but the scope of the Songbird and Flare network is much more than this. They really are bringing something never seen before in the crypto space. It will enable a safer and properly decentralized cross-chain future. Nothing else we are aware of comes anywhere close, and it just goes to show that they're thinking much further ahead than anyone else. I've been in the space for quite a while, and I'm not aware of anything which is even currently being developed or anything of the sort which is comparable to the Flare network, and that's why I've chosen to, build a channel around it. And I must say, my heart really is in this, because they are really thinking outside of the box, and that's what we're all about, innovation, right? With Flare's open protocols, developers are given the tools to build an extensive array of interoperability solutions. Interoperability is a big word for the future. Make sure you fully understand what that means. Flare is building 3 core interoperability products. We have F-Assets, which we're already familiar with. They are providing non-smart contract chain tokens such as Bitcoin, XRP, Litecoin, Algorand, Doge, XLM, and others with smart contract functionality on Flare. There is the Layer Cake, which recently had a white paper released, which is very technical, and we're going to go over that at a later date. And Layer Cake is basically safe, genuinely decentralized bridges between smart contract platforms, both to and from Flare. For example, Flare and Solana. And also between third-party chains, for example, Ethereum and Solana, secured by Flare. So this, it really does just, I guess, bring all of these worlds together, all of these different networks, and they can run through Flare, through the Layer Cake to identify transactions, and it's just going to open up a world of possibilities. Layer Cake enables the use of F-Assets on Flare, as well as any chain integrated with Flare via the Layer Cake bridge. Any chain integrated with Flare. Wow. So Relay we have third. Safe Relay, safely relay any information, including off-chain data, between any sets of chains secured by the state connector. This gives developers total decentralized application composability, all secured by Flare. And something else that I just want to highlight quickly before we proceed, this off-chain data, all of this external data in the world, no matter what it would be. I know in the previous paper that we read, they had examples of invoices being sent and bank transactions or outcomes on a sporting event. All this can be secured by Flare and some of these protocols. An example of this system we will be setting up is a relay of the FTSO prices on Solana. So Solana network, and there's a lot of mentions about Solana actually. I'm very intrigued and might do a little bit of digging on this to see if there is any partnerships going on. But basically, Solana is going to utilize the Flare time series Oracle prices, which I think is great. The Flare system and Songbird have built in this on-chain Oracle, and it's great that they can actually distribute this information to other chains too. Again, nothing comes close to what we are building with Flare. This is why our strapline has changed to connect everything. We're not just talking about a couple of integrated networks. We're not just talking about on-chain data from blockchains. We're talking about everything here, and it just really does expand the scope of the Flare network and how it could potentially, I guess, change the game. The initial rollouts of these 3 protocols will be coordinated by Fleur for specific chains of key importance. To meet anticipated demand, we will also be launching an incentive program for developers to expand the connectivity of the Flare ecosystem. So if you are a developer, that's something you can definitely look forward to. Bridges and relays based on Flare's defined protocol model will be built by third parties and certified by Flare. We will be launching the Flare Foundation's grants program over the coming months for developers looking to help scale the ecosystem. So it's great that they're really trying to incentivize people to work and contribute to the network, because eventually it's going to be a decentralized autonomous organization. And, you know, similar to how Ripple has this XRP fund, which they're using to help promote the growth of the ecosystem, I believe this is what the Flare Foundation will also do. So, the key milestones. The state connector has now been fully deployed on Songbird. In fact, it was deployed yesterday. Over the next couple of weeks, the decentralized consensus model will also be rolled out, and validation will incrementally shift from its current model to be run entirely by the Flare time series Oracle providers. This brings the project to the point at which it is possible to launch Flare. To mitigate the Flare launch technical glitch risks, an audit with Trial of Bits, one of the most reputable firms in the space, has been booked to start on the 16th of May. This will run for 3 weeks, and provided no issues are found, Flare will aim to launch on the 4th of July. So for those who are inevitably going to ask when Flare, this is the targeted launch date. And, you know, I just do want to say that, again, this is an expected launch date, providing that the audit does not uncover anything too nasty. You know, take it with a pinch of salt, but this is the target deadline, okay? It's not a solid deadline. You can't really come up with a solid deadline until everything has been developed, okay? So very interesting indeed. I'm very happy with that. I think it's very prompt, and, you know, good things are worth waiting for. The team will confirm this date in mid-June when the audit completes. So that's something we can look forward to. Yeah, so here is a nice little infographic going over the anticipated order of events on Songbird. In fact, I'm going to blow this up a little bit for you guys. Okay, so the Songbird Roadmap. First of all, there is the state connector activation, which has obviously been completed yesterday. The next thing in the pipeline is updated consensus activation. Then we're going to circle back down to the state connector client release. Then it's going to be the F asset A launch, and notice that there is an A and B here. The layer cake bridges batch 1 launch, then the F assets B launch, coming back down here to the FTSO performance upgrade. And there was some mention on this on Twitter. In fact, may be able to get it up in a second. So we talked about some of this, the state connector, which has been activated. Next in line is the updated consensus activation, and this is going to be initiated over the next couple of weeks. The state connector client release is a release of an example client-side package for the state connector. Basically, the software for people who want to run the state connector, they're going to be able to download this. And this allows the state connector attesters, which we covered yesterday too, to correctly submit events to the state connector system. Anyone can build a client-side. Flare is simply releasing a reference implementation. So all developers are encouraged to create their own, but the Flare team have built one if anyone would like an inspiration or maybe a boilerplate template. Next in line is the F Assets A launch, Part A. This version of the F Asset system enforces the agent to hold 100% of the underlying token on the underlying chain. Now, this is not always going to be the case. We're going to see that in the B section here. And this allows for a lower collateral ratio on Flare than 2.5x. So this is the version of the F asset system that will most likely be used for self-minting. So if you do want to self-mint, it's likely that, you know, you can basically hold the underlying collateral. Say you want to mint XRP. If you're holding XRP in your wallet, then you may be able to provide less than 2.5% of the collateral, whether that's in Songbird or whether that's in the Spark tokens. SB05. Layer Cake Bridges Batch 1 launch. So the first batch of Layer Cake bridges, likely with Terra and either Ethereum or Solana, all EVM compatible, I believe. So it's very interesting to see that. We're going to have to see how that develops too. F Assets B launch. So this is the A launch with 100% collateral. 100% of the underlying token, and the B launch is basically this version of the F asset system, uses a 2.5 collateral ratio on Fleur, but allows the agent to hold less than 100% of the tokens in the underlying chain. So higher collateral for this version, which is likely to be given to assets and not agents on the network and not self-minting. And yeah, you're going to be able to, or they're going to be able to hold less than the tokens to back it up, but they're going to have to provide more collateral in terms of Songbird or the Spark token. Finally, the FTSO performance upgrade. The FTSO system, or the Fleur Time Series Oracle system, will undergo optimizations with the aim of increasing both the number of possible price series and the number of possible data providers into the thousands. So previously, or I guess currently, there are a maximum of 100 signal providers. And yeah, it looks like they're looking to amplify that by a factor of 10 into the thousands, or multiple thousands. So that's always interesting, and it's great to have this robust decentralized system. And I guess maybe that could also, and this is purely speculation, this could also mean that there is a reduction on the cap for the signal providers. At the minute, it's set at 10%. If there's going to be 1,000 or more, then I imagine that would reduce. All major changes to existing systems, such as upgrading the FTSO, will be subject to Songbird governance. I'm going to talk a little bit about this later in the document. Very interesting. I'm sure we will find out very soon. So this, if we just go back up here, this was the roadmap for Songbird, and this is the roadmap for Fleur. This is the one that everyone's been waiting for. So the Fleur roadmap, as we said before, there is a trial of bits audit happening in the near future. There is the rectification if issues are found, and this is an if. It doesn't mean that issues are going to be found, but if there are, these are going to be rectified. And if the audit passes, then this is the target launch of 4th of July, Independence Day. So we come down here, and eventually 75% of the initial 15% of the Spark token will be distributed. So this is something which is new, which I don't think many people knew about until now, I guess. Initially, we was going to get 15%. I think that's still the case. But we're just going to get 75% of that. I'm not sure where the other 25% is going yet, but I'm sure it will be distributed at a later date. Come down here to the governance update on token distribution. I'm going to talk about all these in a second. Then we get the F Assets A launch, which we saw above. The Songbird Bridge launch, and this is to do with governance, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. The Layer Cake Bridges Batch 1, same as before. The FTSO performance upgrade, F Assets B launch, and Layer Cake Bridges 2. And as they say here, several key events here have the same definitions as above, so won't be repeated. And, you know, we just walked through some of them, but some of these are actually different. So if we talk about here the Fleur launch is basically the main network launch and distribution of the 15% of tokens. So yeah, that's, I guess, this bit here, but we do only get 75% of that at the minute. There we go. I guess we'll we'll maybe find out more details about that later. So FL02 governance update on the token distribution. The team has been working on a governance proposal regarding the token distribution. The proposal intends to achieve 3 different things. Remove the risk of an exchange failing to pass on future token distributions, and this is key. You know, a lot of people are expecting their Spark tokens to be distributed to an exchange because they hold XRP at the time of the snapshot. So this is always good to see that they're actually doing something about this proposal. Substantially increase the incentive to engage with the network. And I really like this. You know, there are definitely some things which are already happening in the forms of the reward pools. And I am going to talk about that a little bit more in the coming weeks once we approach the launch. And the third and final thing is to provide positive tax implications such that a majority of recipients can avoid generating a taxable event until they claim their token allocations and withdraw them from the system. This would give the recipient autonomy of when they wish to trigger a tax event. So I'm sure people will definitely welcome this. I know people hate taxes, and it looks like they're definitely working towards a solution for that. The governance vote for this proposal will only take place once 75% of the initial 15% distribution is freely available. Freely available meaning fully distributed, even by exchanges, right? To take part in the governance vote. In the case of exchanges, this means that the token will have to be distributed and can be withdrawn from the exchange. The proposal details will be published with ample advanced warning before Flare launches. Happy days. We have the Songbird bridge launch, and this is going to allow all Songbird tokens to be bridged to Flare and vice versa. I want to read that again. Songbird bridge launch. This allows all Songbird tokens to be bridged to Flare and vice versa. I think this is going to be very powerful, and hopefully it maybe includes some NFTs as well. That's complete speculation, but it would be a nice feature to have. And finally, the Layer Cake Bridges Batch 2 launch, the second batch of Layer Cake bridges. This will focus on connecting Flare to all major smart contract chains and connecting key smart contract chains to each other. So, if any issues are identified in the audit, this will be publicly reported immediately, provided they do not pose risk to Songbird. So they really are stepping up their game, the Flare team, with communications. If, you know, at the soonest convenience that they do find an issue with the audit, if it doesn't pose a risk to Songbird, they're going to let us know, and that's obviously going to let us know about a potential delay in the launch date. In the case issues are deemed to jeopardize the network security on Songbird, they will be reported as soon as a fix has been deployed on Songbird, which makes sense. The team is also working on a governance proposal. This is a big thing here. The team is also working on a governance proposal to introduce Songbird as part of the Flare governance mechanism. Yes, that's right, another use case for SGB. Whilst not limited to, it will include 1. A Songbird bonding system over the governance of the build of bridges between Flare and networks below the top 75% by market capitalization. The aim of this is to provide a mechanism to signal which bridges in this category to build and what order through choosing some of the most bonded SGB. So basically, if you have SGB, you may have you will have a say in which chains you wish to integrate. Second part here, or the second point, an SGB bonding system for community-generated governance proposals. Again, the aim here is to sort through governance proposals by creating a priority mechanism based on bonded SGB. And again, the more SGB you have, the more influence you will have in these decisions. Both mechanisms will introduce economic incentives in Spark accruable to those that bonded their SGB to the winning proposals over bridges and governance. So I kind of like this as well, you know. So if you say have some Songbird and there is, I guess, a proposal to integrate, let's say, Bitcoin, and everyone wishes to integrate Bitcoin, if you vote for that and it's successful, then you will receive incentives in the form of the Spark token. The finer details are still being worked on to avoid any unintended economic incentives. All of us at Fleur look forward to delivering the cross-chain future and building out this ecosystem. The first community call will be held in late April, so definitely be on the lookout for that. I'm not sure, maybe it's going to be a Twitter Spaces. Either way, I'm excited. I'm sure you are too. And, you know, just to summarize this, I'm incredibly excited. You know, launch date expected in quotation marks for Independence Day. We've learned that the scope of Fleur is this initial concept, what they have is not what they will be delivering. Through extensive additional engineering and research, we have further developed our initial ideas and protocols to build something much more exciting. And again, it just is testament to this statement here: connect everything. I don't know what else to say. The scope for this project is absolutely massive, because there is no real solution to true decentralized interoperability. And it looks like that is what Fleur is going to achieve. So, with that being said, guys, I'd just like to say a big thank you all for watching. If you haven't yet subscribed, please feel free to do so. Of course, I will be providing updates as and when information comes available. And yeah, hope you have an enjoyable week. And until next time, I'm out.
We have liftoff.